Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today I will be welcoming a very prolific writer, producer of television, Carolyn Omine. Carolyn is the current, she's like a producer on The Simpsons. She's written many episodes of The Simpsons and of Full House, and she was a writer on The Parenthood and many others. And she's a former Groundling. She was there in, I think, like the early to mid 80s, something like that. And I'm having her on the show today to talk about all that stuff, and I can't wait. She did something that has very much enriched my life. I hope she can take credit for this. Every time I see a belly button, I always say, "You have the belly button of an angel." And that was on an episode of Full House that she wrote. And I hope she can take credit for that line, because I've been using that forever and will continue to do so. I've been using it for like 27 years now. And so this is going to be a very interesting episode, as you can tell, during this time of quarantine. Man, I want to go out. I don't want to be cooped up in the house anymore, and I don't want to go just shopping. I've been doing that for 3 years since I've been up here in Reading. I want to do a lot more stuff. I just hope that we can all do something soon. Whether it's a convention, going to a movie, doing anything. I hope we can all do something really, really soon. So yeah, here is my interview with Carolyn Omine. Hey, Carolyn.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Pretty good. This is such a great honor. Thank you for taking the time today.
Well, sure. Thank you for saying it's an honor. That's very nice of you.
I say that to everyone, but I mean every single one of them.
Well, I'm glad. It is an honor to speak to anyone, I suppose.
Yeah. So, going back in time, did you gravitate toward comedy and writing early on in your childhood?
I did. I can remember really, really, really wanting to be funny. I remember that. I can sort of remember. I can remember this, like being 7 or 8, and somebody telling me that my jokes were corny, and I was like, "Yeah, I've got to work on that." But I probably was sort of tiresome. I think I was trying a lot. I was talking about this with somebody else, and also that we were talking about how much, like, the little, I guess, early creativity would take place as lies. Mm. And I do remember this one lie I told when there was, like, this thing where kids had it was around first grade, where we'd have to sweep up the porch after the lunch. And there was like a regular broom and a push broom, and we would always fight for the push broom. Yeah. And I was not fast enough and had the regular broom, and I just started pretending like I couldn't figure out this broom, and then I told the person, "Oh, you see, it's just that," and I acted like this was a really hard thing to admit. I was like, "It's just that I'm very rich, and we only have the other kind of brooms, and I don't know how to work this one." And I remember the girl being so interested because I was not in a neighborhood that was like, we were all too young to like realize like, why do you live in Eva Beach? You're so rich. But she was just so fascinated by the fact that I was rich. And then she let me have the push broom, and I just regaled her with stories of how great it was being rich. And it was all nice.
Are you a good joke teller?
I don't know. I mean, like telling jokes? Yeah. I don't really tell jokes in that way, I don't think. Like remembering jokes that people... Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I sometimes dabble in stand-up, and I guess that's a different way of telling jokes.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm good yet.
Yeah, I've been dabbling in stand-up for 14 years now, and I'm pretty good at jokes. Remembering them and stuff. Were you the funny one in the family?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
Who did you watch in comedy?
I loved Saturday Night Live. I loved Monty Python. When Steve Martin came out, I just thought he was
brilliant. He was brilliant.
Oh, Steve Martin. Yes, memorized a lot of his stuff. We were going to a Steve Martin concert.
Yeah.
And it was just really interesting because people were just basically saying his jokes with him. You know, like somebody would sing along with a song.
Yeah.
But I loved Andy Kaufman. I still love Andy Kaufman. Yeah, I'm trying to think of who else. Oh, I loved Lily Tomlin and George Carlin. Those are like,
yeah, love them all.
Albums I used to listen to. People used to listen to albums. Eddie Murphy was also just huge, and I'm just thinking about all the people that we would, for many months afterwards, all of my friends would be doing bits from there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Eddie Murphy, Delirious. I got that whole special memorized.
Yeah, and it's. I guess I think I most of my friends are very funny too. So I think I just sort of gravitate. Those are the people that I've always wanted to be friends with, and so I do sort of spend most of my time laughing. I mean, now I've been on the show for so long.
Yeah.
I remembered when I was pregnant, I remember thinking, oh, my baby's going to be, if laughter is good for babies, then this baby's, I mean, I couldn't imagine anybody laughing more than I do, just in that room, just walking in and hearing all these really funny people just talking about the news.
Yeah.
So these days, it's hard for the news to be funny. But,
Which sitcoms did you like growing up?
Let's see. I mean, growing up, I had terrible taste growing up because I did love like the Partridge Family and Brady Bunch, which they're not terrible, but they're not like I recognize they aren't like comedy powerhouses.
Yeah.
But then later, I really liked Seinfeld, and there was Dave Merkin had a show called Get a Life. I just love that because it's so, it didn't always work, but I just loved what it was doing.
Yeah.
And
it was mindfuckery.
yeah. I mean, I think like these days, what I loved, just what really gets me now. I loved like coming. I don't know why I'm thinking of like more modern things. I will rewatch any of the Kroll Show. I've gone through the whole series several times. I love Key and Peele. In fact, I feel like right now, sometimes there's certain sketches, and at different times there'll be different ones that I that I watch, but I sometimes just need to laugh. I feel like, when you're just having to write, it's, you're facing this blank page, and you have to feel funny. And sometimes if you're by yourself, it's, in a group,
yeah,
we often digress. We will talk about other things, like I said, like we'll talk about the news, we'll talk about other shows, or we'll just, some of those things that happen in their life, and people will riff on it,
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important because you can't just go, okay, think of this funny thing, go. I do feel like when you're in that mood, because people have made you laugh, and you're laughing, then you are funnier. And so sometimes when I'm alone, I have to get some real dependable things that I know are funny. And I can't tell. There's so many sketches that are like guaranteed I will laugh, I will be inspired, and then,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're born and raised in Hawaii?
Yes.
Did you go to college and study theater and writing?
I did. I went to the University of Hawaii for the first 2 years. Mainly because I didn't grow up with the kind of family that knew how to go to college. I knew that I wanted to, just because I knew that's what people do. And it was sort of really just the place I grew up with. It just wasn't that type of mindset. So
Mm-hmm.
it really was like, what? I'm supposed to have signed up already. So I just had to sign up really quickly, and I got into the University of Hawaii. And it was really a great sort of mellow environment. I wanted to be a design major, because I also did a lot of graphic art type of things. Even though I knew I loved acting and performing, I was also a singer, I thought none of those things are helped by a degree. So I thought I would just get the degree in graphic arts, because I thought if you had a graphic arts degree, you could get like a job at an advertising agency or something. Mm-hmm. But that I would utilize the college to get training in all the things that I actually loved. So I was doing the things to get a design degree, but I was also taking all these theater classes and theater history classes and film classes. And, I think people at the University of Hawaii thought that I was a theater major and maybe even a film major, because I was taking so much of those classes. Then I transferred to UCLA, and UCLA was much more strict about that. So I was a design major, but I couldn't take any more theater classes. So I was just trying to get involved in any other way. Like there was, unless I declared my degree as a theater major or a film and television major. But there were other things, like you could audition for, like the directing students would have auditions, and you could audition to be in their films. And so, mostly it was actors who were in the theater department, but that wasn't as strict, so I could audition and I could do some of those. And then I just really wanted to do that, but I wasn't allowed to very much. And then somebody had put an ad in the paper to do, it was just like a student who was starting an improv group, and it was very informal, and that's how I started doing improv. It was this guy named Steve Mazur, who was at the time a law student. He eventually went on to become a really good writer. So he wrote Liar, Liar, and he wrote
a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. I'm blanking on names now. Yeah, that is where I got introduced to improv, and then from improv I started writing sketches, and did the Groundlings for a little while.
Yeah.
And
what year did you get to the Groundlings?
I was in the Sunday show, and then yes, there was a controversial. It's a little. There is a lot of politics going on there too, but
of course,
yeah. So I was.
I'm friends with all the original Groundlings, like Lynn Stewart and Terry Bolo and Gloria Vassie, the founding members. You know?
Oh, really? I know Lynn Stewart, but that's really.
Yeah, it's when they were doing it. There was so much camaraderie there and so much just rapport with everybody. They just loved it. I mean, they were breaking ground in a comedy revolution, and then by the 80s it started to become a business, and now it's even worse from what I've been told.
Yeah, it was a little hard. Like, I remember there was a time when they were going through some financial problems, and they had hired this publicist. Like, they spent all this money hiring this publicist.
Right.
And at the time, I don't know, I mean, at least in the Sunday show, we would sell out every night. I mean, every Sunday. And they were telling us that, you know, we had to go out and get donations from people.
Mm-hmm.
And it basically, if we didn't get enough donations, and we decided to forget how much they were going to make each of us go out and get donations. And then if you didn't get them, you'd be responsible for, like, say it was $500, you had to get $500 in donations, or you'd be responsible for it. And I remember getting up and saying, like, I don't understand why, you know, because we were all paying. You know, the Sunday show, you pay once a month.
Mm-hmm.
You're still paying like as if you're taking a class.
Yeah.
And it's like, so we're paying to be on stage, and we pay for all our own costumes and wigs and props, and we're all like broke.
Yeah.
You know, kids, and then everybody, and there were no comps, so everybody in the audience was paying. It's just like, why are we also then? But then, like, you know, they had just paid all this money to this publicist, and his, you know, solution was that, like, the people who were paying to play should pay more. You know, there was some mismanagement going on at that time. I think they've gone through it and gotten better. I hope. It's
Yeah, that's ridiculous, though. Was Kathy Griffin there?
She's like a little bit before, but she was in the main company at the time.
Uh-huh. Was Cynthia Zaghetti one of your teachers?
Cynthia Zaghetti was my first improv teacher. Like, well, after I Steve Mazer at UCLA, then he had taken Cynthia's class, so then I took Cynthia's class, and Cynthia was pivotal for me.
She was tough.
She was tough, but she was really, like, I remember, you know, there was, I remember, for the most part, I was, you know, I feel like in improv, once you get over the fear, you do so much better. Because I think there's a lot of bad habits that happen out of fear, you know, like, they used to say there was a doo-doo caca phase where everybody's like, I'm a dildo, like, you know, at first. I think it's all about being nervous. But I kind of didn't have that as much as most people, because I had worked, you know, when I was in Hawaii, when I was at UH, I was also singing in a band. I was singing in a cover band. That was like how I made money. Oh. So I would, you know, besides doing a lot of theater, I was, you know, 6 nights a week, like 4 or 5 hours a night playing in a band. And so I do think even though it's not the same thing, I do think that somehow just being on stage to the point where it becomes a little bit like, okay, this is a little bit normal. I mean, I think you're always never quite not nervous at all, but I think getting to the point where it's like I can function. Whereas a lot of people, when they first start out in improv, it's such a scary thought to them, and then being on stage is another part of it. And anyway, so I felt like I did well early on, and Cynthia was, very encouraging to me. And I do remember one time, it was much later, because at this point I was in an improv group, and normally I did pretty well, but I was having a bad night, as one does, and I just was getting all up in my head, and Cynthia, who had just was there watching, she came backstage, and she came up to me and she went, "What the fuck are you doing? Cut that shit out." And then she just turned away and walked, which is, her style.
Yeah. And
I realized, it was just I just was like, "Yes, ma'am." I just cut that shit out. I just went back out and was better. And, I think that's one of the things, I feel like now, and throughout the years, there would be other times when I would start to just kind of suck for one reason or another.
Yeah.
And I would hear her voice in my head saying, "Cut that shit out." And just knowing that she had enough faith in me that, to know that would be enough. Stop sucking. And then, to know that that's actually a choice.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you just go, "Oh, I'm sucking. Oh, I must suck. This is just the way it's going to be from now on." And then you just go with that. And instead of just no, I'm going to pull it together.
Yeah. That reminds me of a thing I heard Jerry Lewis say one time. Back in the day, he would do 8 shows a day. And his father told him after the 7th one that he dogged the last one. He would say, "You dogged it." And he would say, "Dad, I've done 7 shows today, and I have one more tonight at the Paramount. I'm exhausted." And his father would say, "Then get sick, but don't dog it. Don't go on." So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it is weird that there's so much about what we do, any sort of comedy, even writing, or it's so much of it is just sort of a mind game that you really do need to kind of develop that muscle. I used to smoke.
Cigarettes?
And when I quit, that was in 2000, I used to think, "Oh, how will I be able to write?" Because it was such a part of my, writing, my little ritual. And then I found that I could. And then when I had a kid, I thought, "Oh, how am I going to be able to write when I can't do what my usual thing is where I don't have, nothing comes to me until 2 days before the thing is due, and then I have to do 3 all-nighters or whatever."
Yeah.
And it would finally have this difficult birth, which I just decided that was my, that's how I do it, and that's how it has to be. And then having a kid, it was no, I just couldn't do it. So it's sit down and write it now. And then then I could. It's really, there's so many things that I hear even other writers or young writers tell me "Well, see, I have to do it like this, and this has to be and I just, there's no way to tell them in a way that they believe it, but anything that you tell yourself about well, the only way it works for me is if I'm in this bathrobe at this time of day or whatever. That's none of that is true. It is all in your head, and you could it will all work just as you just have to tell yourself that. Okay,
Yeah.
I can also do it.
Yeah.
This way.
Now, IMDb isn't completely accurate, but I listened to another interview you did, and you said you started writing on sitcoms that got quickly canceled. Well, I'm a historian, so which sitcoms were they?
All right, my first sitcom was, oh my God, I'm blanking on it.
The Charmings?
No, it was, it's based off of a British sitcom called Birds of a Feather, and it was, it starred Rosie O'Donnell, Melissa Gilbert. Stand By Your Man. Oh my God.
Stand By Your Man. I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
And it only went for, I think it was 13 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they aired all of them, but we had a very cranky Rosie O'Donnell. She had agreed to do the show. Like, it was one of those things where they did a pilot, and I think the pilot was Rosie and somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And then she did A League of Their Own, and then she was still contracted to be on this show, and she had, I think, had felt she had sort of moved beyond it, but still had to do it. So she wasn't always, you know.
Yeah, she probably wasn't hosting Comedy Spotlight on VH1 anymore either.
Yeah, no, she was a little grouchy. I don't know if she was. Yeah. She was, I don't know what she was doing stand-up wise at that point. And then after that, I did. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm forgetting the names of these shows. I did a show it was Matthew Perry and a woman named Diana Canova, who had been on Soap.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, why can't I really am surprised that I'm blanking on these things. I think I just have told myself that I'm going to blank on them.
It's okay if you don't remember.
I can't remember the name of that one.
It's okay.
That's that. And then after that, I was on Full House.
Yeah, so Full House was the first big show you wrote for.
Yes, and that was fun because it was only 2 years, but having been on the first two shows where, you know, it was really only, both times it was like 20 weeks of work, and, you know, the way it works, it's still this way a little bit, but now there's a little bit more production all year round, but the way it used to work is that there would be staffing season a few weeks after May when the shows were announced, and during those few weeks after the shows are announced and the schedule is announced, if you don't find a job, then you're not going to be able to find a job until the next May.
Right.
Because people didn't hire in the middle of the year. And so, if you were on a show that only went for 20 weeks, then you couldn't find another show until May came around again. So having had 2 years in a row where, you know, I earned more money than I ever made before during those 20 weeks, that quickly disappeared in, lasted a couple of months, and then you had to kind of figure out what you were going to do until you made it. It was so nice to get on Full House and be like, I have 2 years. I can go on hiatus and know that I have a job, 2 months from now. And so I could enjoy my 2 months off. So that was a big change. So, and Full House, there was very nice people. I wasn't a big fan of the show itself, but I really was very nice people, and it was a very nice working environment.
You wrote some of my favorites. The Smash Club The Next Generation episode. There's a line in that episode I've been quoting since 1993, and I hope you can take credit for it.
Oh, I hope so.
When Michelle is giving Jesse the answer, under her shirt, and Jesse says, "You have the belly button of an angel." I've been quoting that since 1993.
I don't remember that one. I wish it was one I could say, oh, yes, I definitely remember I wrote that one, but I can't really remember if I wrote that one.
Yeah.
I did write one of the last episodes.
Yeah.
And, I can't remember if it was part 1 or part 2. I think it's called Michelle Rides Again.
Yeah.
Where she has amnesia.
That's
and in my first draft, because we always would sort of make fun of the show itself.
Yeah.
but it's true. But there were a lot of things where, like at one point, I don't know, I can't even remember which. Sometimes it's hard to remember what things actually made it to the air. But like there was one point where we put in where because Michelle has amnesia, she's just sort of, remarking on the show, and she's like, wow, this house looks so much bigger on the inside than it does on the outside, because that was something, when you see the exterior of that sort of San Francisco townhouse,
yeah,
and then you just see like that giant living room, and then, we just keep showing bedroom after bedroom after bedroom after bedroom, like that would never fit inside that little. And at one point she was saying, wow, people hug here a lot. There was just a lot of like,
yeah.
But then after that, I wrote for a show called The Parenthood.
Yes.
Where Robert Townsend had written that show. That was very fun. And it was also a really interesting experience because it was a predominantly black writer's room.
Mm-hmm.
And predominantly black cast and most of the crew. And that was really interesting, just to sort of, it was a very different atmosphere. And I really liked it. It was very supportive. And, people would come by all the time, too. I just remember thinking, I remember, Cedric the Entertainer and, Usher. And all these people were just, showing up to kind of, I just felt very much like everybody was going to support each other within that community. And that was, also, the craft services were so much better.
Really?
It was this woman named EJ. See, I can remember it. The craft service lady. I can't remember the name of it. Matthew Perry show. Home Free is what it was called, by the way. EJ would make chicken and waffles in the morning, and you'd go to these run-throughs and you could hear the smell like she's making red beans and rice, and she had this deep fried turkey that was amazing, and it was really. Anyway, that was a nice experience. Then after Parenthood, I did this thing called Nick Freno, Licensed Teacher, which had a lot of unpleasant things. It was good because it was the first time, my bosses were, and I was still very new, but they were very, very encouraging, and they wanted me to, I basically helped them with a pilot and got to go to casting and, really work on how this show was, just all the behind-the-scenes things. It was really good sort of boot camp in that way. The bad part was that even though, and I also helped on, hiring writers and stuff, and they were always telling writers, look, of course, if you're not happy, we never keep anybody in their contracts. So then when I said, because I had then gotten the chance after a year to go to a different show, I was like, could I be let out of my contract? They were like, no.
Yeah.
And that was the year also that my mother died, and
Yeah.
like I was just stuck on the show I didn't want to be on, and the show got picked up even though it was last place in the ratings. I was like, why? And then it was very, very hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds so very much privileged to be saying that was hard because, I mean,
I get it.
But yeah, I mean, I remember it as a very hard time. When my mother was in Hawaii and she was dying of emphysema, and so she was on a ventilator, and I was flying home the weekends, and it was a very strange experience to sort of land in Hawaii and be like, it's Hawaii, but then, just getting into my sweatpants, going to the hospital, just staying in a hospital room, and then flying back to this show that I didn't like, and that these stars, some of the actors were misbehaving, and it was just...
That's sad.
Yeah, it was a hard one. But, and then I remember telling myself that the next year, I was not going to take any show that I didn't really, really like. And I had gotten a meeting with the Simpsons, and I was didn't really think I would get it, but there were people who were on the show that I knew who were saying, no, it's all up in the air, and it actually was delayed because the Phil Hartman thing happened, and so they were like, no, everything is just put on hold. And so in any other case where you did an interview and then like a month later you still hadn't really heard, I was like, you would normally be like, okay, that's it. But
by the time you got there, Susie Dieter had been writing, so Sam Simon's "No Woman" banner had been lifted.
I don't know that Sam Simon ever had a no woman's band. I don't think that's true. At least not for people that.
According to Mimi Pond, who I interviewed, she's really bitter. So, baby.
I know. I feel like, and I don't want to I'll just say from the people who talked, Mimi Pond is she was like a cartoonist, right?
Right.
And she's a very good friend of Matt Groening. So, and I know that the way she puts it is that she wrote the pilot, and then yet she wasn't put on the show because Sam Simon did, which is not very accurate.
Yeah.
It's not completely accurate because she didn't write the pilot. The pilot was the episode, now I can't remember the episode, where the babysitter comes with Penny Marshall played the babysitter.
Yes,
and,
I remember that one.
That was supposed to be the pilot. That's written by Matt Groening and Sam Simon. It's the only episode that both of them wrote. And that was supposed to be the pilot, but when it came back, the animation was so crazy and weird that they were like, no. And so that had to be sent back and redone. And so the next one up, which had been given to a freelance writer, was, and that was also a lot of people that are on the show, like Al Jean and Jim Brooks, will credit David Silverman for saving the show because it also, this is also a time where everybody's very. The idea of doing a primetime animated show was already sort of crazy. So to have something come back in the animation being sort of not up to par, everybody's like, oh, okay, this is a stupid idea.
Mm-hmm.
But the next episode that came up where they could, have an idea of what it looked like was the Simpsons roasting on an open fire. And that's why Jim Brooks and Al say that's what saved the show, was that one came back and it was like, yes, this looks right. And, with freelance writers, and I'm not to take anything away from Mimi Pond, but the majority of the writing on the show is done as a group. So We all get a chance to do one episode. Sometimes you get two, just depending on, but usually you get one episode a year that has your name on the first draft. And, so for each of us, we get 2 weeks to go home and write a first draft, and then we bring it in, and then for the rest of the year, 90% of our job, basically, is going through scripts, page by page by page. So, and the thing is, freelance writers, their scripts often aren't, I would say this, like most of the time when we write a script, most of it is rewritten by the time it hits the screen.
Right.
There are often, sometimes jokes that make it from the first draft all the way to the air. And then, but even the jokes that you replace, at least if you're the writer and you're in the writer's room, you're also contributing to the jokes that are being replaced, and you're writing on other people's scripts. But, so if you look at Simpsons roasting on open fire, you're not really seeing all of Mimi Pond's work. In fact,
yes,
I would guess that as a freelance writer, I feel like even less, it's more likely that hardly anything would have stayed from the first draft to the end. I'm sure something might have, but anyway, everyone else who was there it wasn't no women can be on the show. Jen Crittenden worked on the show, and But there were, and I'm a fan of Mimi's cartooning work, and she's also written novels. I don't know if she's worked in other television shows.
Not many, no. And I can confirm it's because of who she is, because she was one of my worst interviews.
Well, I don't know her personally. I do know that I think that her view of how that worked out is from a very...
It's very bitter.
It's from her, from being just not seeing this whole other part of this iceberg and going, wow, I wrote the pilot and I couldn't get on the show. And it makes it sound like she created the show and wasn't allowed on the show, but that's...
Yeah.
It wasn't meant to be the pilot. And...
Yeah.
And surely once it was decided this was going to be the pilot, of course it was all hands on deck. And, at that time, you had George Meyer and John Swartzwelder,
two of the best,
and Simon, to everyone who, from that time, when in my early years on The Simpsons, John Swartzwelder was still there doing, he was he's not really a freelance, but he would do scripts and just, his scripts would be huge chunks of a first draft would stay. Mm-hmm. And I think that, and it's nothing against the freelance writers, because that's just, in general, that's what happens. It's almost a page one rewrite, and it's really just about, if you're not there every day, you're not going to know the show well enough to begin with, and, so, some really, really great writers wrote on that script and made that this incredible pilot, and...
Yeah, I reached out to her, for the 30th anniversary of that show, and, she knew exactly what she was coming on for, and for the first half, she was cool, she was engaging, and then once we got to The Simpsons, she got bitter, and then I mentioned to her that I was a Family Guy fan, and she basically called me a misogynist in so many words. And then for the next 6 minutes, she wasn't engaging at all. And the energy that was there in the beginning was not there. and then she untagged herself on Twitter in the episode, and then and I'd sent her an email thanking her, never heard back. I sent her a Facebook friend request. She blocked it. I mean, I was just like, what the fuck is her problem?
Well, I mean, I don't really, I have no idea. I don't really know her, but I do know that, like, everyone else who was on at that time was not saying that, there was any sort of policy or that Sam Simon. I mean, I will say that, people have said, Sam Simon was not the easiest person to get along with, and I think he had a number of problems. I met him, only a few times, and he was always nice to me, but that was always just sort of in social situations. And, and look, there was definitely sexism. I don't think that there's just definitely sexism just in the business in general, and it's gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
But I do think that The Simpsons also, it was more than just, sexism. There was also, because so many of them had come from the Harvard Lampoon thing, there was sort of this preference for people from, Ivy League schools, and I think that was just really just the sort of natural thing that happens where you want to hire people that are like you,
Yeah.
But and I think that people they've sort of come to realize that maybe it's better to have a bigger variety, and
What are your favorite episodes
of The Simpsons?
Yeah.
My favorite. Let's see. One of my favorites is K-Fife Homer.
Oh yeah.
I love that one. I think just all because it's so silly, and I think it's such a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
And but even there's even that moment where I feel like it has this really good emotional moment when Marge very gently admits that she's finding him less attractive. And I just thought that was such a it was a honest, emotional moment, but it was also one that you don't see very often. It was like a wife saying, it makes me sad that, and then I love that Homer later just goes, when he figures out how to triple his productivity by just hitting one letter, he's like, take that, miss, I don't find you sexually attractive anymore.
Yeah.
I also love Mountain of Madness.
Mm-hmm.
I love this scene when I just love how crazy they get, and I love when Homer realizes that making noise causes an avalanche, and he has that one moment where he's whispering in between each word. He hears the mountain slowly move, and yet he keeps on talking.
Yeah.
Of my episodes, I guess my favorite is Halloween of Horror.
Yeah, with Night of the Dolphin.
Oh, well, I do like Night of the Dolphins. That's from Treehouse.
I love that.
But Halloween of Horror is, I did an episode, and I think it's season 26.
Mm-hmm.
Around there. But it's the only canon Halloween show.
Right.
That is not a treehouse. But I really like that one because doing that with Matt Tallman was executive producer on that, and he's just very collaborative, and so I got to have a lot more freedom as far as like editing it and the music for it, and just have more say in these types of things. And and I just did another one, and I think it's probably my second favorite. Although I do like my first one was Little Big Mom with Stupid Sexy Flanders. That will always be sort of a favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But I just did this episode called Highway to Well, and it was another Matt Tellman episode, and I liked it because it's funny because it's about like Marge inadvertently starts working at like a pot dispensary, and then a lot of people were, even the reviews were saying, I guess they're trying to make a statement about legalized pot versus blah, blah, blah. And really, what I like about it is that we weren't trying to make a statement. I feel like we often sometimes get sort of like, well, what's the message and what's the deep point about this? And I do think it's important to have that kind of stuff sometimes, but also sometimes it's like, it's just funny.
Yeah.
It's funny that, because it also, one, just the world of going into these places that look like Apple stores, they're selling pot, and like the people are sort of like sommeliers, trying to, curate the kind of high you want, or saying that there's other like healing properties of pot, and that's what we're all here for. And then also knowing that I found out that Mike Tyson, who has his own, I think he has a line of pot, but he like a strain, and I think I don't know if he grows it.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he's become sort of a mogul in that way, and he has a ranch.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know how far he's gotten in I had seen early design sketches where it was going to have, at one point they said it was a 420-acre, like, pot resort, but then later it said it was only 418, which I felt like, oh, come on, find 2 more acres, because you got to have the 420. But it was going to have the longest lazy river.
Yeah.
And, but I didn't, I just sort of imagined what it would be like, like sort of a bong in every room or whatever. I just thought it was sort of funny. And really that was, I feel like it was fun to do an episode that was just sort of silly, and even when there's supposed to be kind of an emotional moment, there's like one moment where Marge goes, oh, Homer knows how much self-esteem I get from selling weed or something, but it's just, I thought sort of funny kind of faint at
my favorite
emotion, but it's not really, it's just a silly thing.
Yeah, my favorite episodes are like Mr. Plow.
Yes.
You can get me, Adam West, Linda Ronstadt, and Snow in an episode, I'm a Happy Guy. I love it when, Homer's at the bar at the beginning and Marge is like, Homer, are you coming home? And he's like, but Marge, Alan Thicke is throwing knives at Ricardo Montalban. You hear, whoosh, ay, ay, ay. Sorry, Ricardo. I love that. I love Lisa the Vegetarian.
Yes.
There's so many wrong jokes in it. I love.
Yeah. One of my favorites is just like when he's imagining the cuter animals, and they're just like, get out of there.
Yeah.
One that's not as cute as the other.
Yeah. The Way He Was.
Yes, I love that.
Love that
I also
one.
love the Abe Simpsons. I like the fighting hellfish.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of my favorite jokes. When I love it because it's them at the funeral of the rain, and then Mr. Burns tells Grandpa, like, Abe Simpson, can you go 5 minutes without embarrassing yourself? And his pants fall down, and he just goes, how long was that? That's funny.
I love Burns Baby Burns with Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
He became the first guest star ever to write his own jokes. I love Rosebud with Mr. Burns' teddy bear.
Yeah.
That's a great one. Bart Sells His Soul.
Yeah, that one was really like, because I remember, I wasn't on the show then, and just watching that and just going, wow, okay.
Yeah.
This show can this is we're going for a whole different thing here. This is really cool.
Yeah. Frank Grimes.
Yeah, I'm always surprised at like how much people like that. I like, cause, you know, there's some. It's weird because people get mad about some things. Like a lot of people were talking about how they got mad at. Well, everybody hates the Armin Tamzarian thing, which I thought was kind of funny. But
I think it's funny. Yeah.
but like also like at the end of sort of Das Bus.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're like, where they were saved by, oh, let's say Mo. And I loved that, but a lot of people were really angry and thought it was lazy. And to me, because at the time I had been working on these sitcoms that I was not, you know, I just knew we were just sort of stuck in these certain rules, and I just loved that. Just as a writer, it was like, no, they recognize the show is over, and really any other writing you're doing is just kind of housekeeping, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I just love that sort of nod to it, like, oh, let's just say they got saved. Because, you know, like, you have to put, you know, in these sitcoms where you put your characters in danger, you got to put everything back on the shelf, like everything generally has to go back to the way it was, unless you're doing a special episode where now they have a dog or, you know, they've adopted a child.
Yeah.
So it was just like, no, okay, they eventually did get back to town.
Homer versus New York. Oh my God, I remember about 12, 13 years ago, I'm watching that episode with a bunch of friends on my DVD. And I had this one black friend. I had never heard him laugh so hard at the end of the episode where they're driving out and Homer gets hit by that bag of crack. Oh, God, I'd never seen him laugh so fucking hard. That's a great one. I love it. Bart visits Mad Magazine.
Yeah. And it is, like, I'm sort of, like, that whole thing with, like, the 9/11 thing that people later were like,
Yeah.
wow, they predicted the future. I mean, it's so weird how those things happen. I had seen this whole thing about 9/11 and Back to the Future.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, you're, like, going into it, it's like, well, that's just crazy. Nobody's predicting anything. But
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but it is crazy how many sort of 9/11 references are in Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Like,
the Libyans. Yeah.
the Libyans, but also, like, it was the Twin Pines, and then it gets, you know, they knock out one of the pines, and then it's only, but there's moments where, like, when the car takes off and it leaves those two flaming tire tracks, and then next to it there's this arrow sign that's shaped exactly like a 9, and so with the flaming tire tracks, it looks, I mean, as much as, you know, there's a 9/11 in the Simpsons one too, but
yeah.
it's weird. I don't know. I think that I wonder if you took any kind of something big that happened and then take any movie and just say, all right, sit in a room and watch this movie and find all of the references to the Hindenburg or whatever. I think you might find them. Maybe there's signs of everything everywhere.
Yeah. How about your least favorite episode?
My least favorite, well, okay, so there's 2 episodes that I really did not want, or at least I was very much in the minority. And this was, because for a long time I was the only woman on staff. And there was, when Marge gets boobed, she accidentally gets a boob job. Like, I recognize what's funny, that, you know, she goes in to get something else and then ends up accidentally through a medical mix-up with implants. I recognize what's funny about Homer going, well, actually, we can keep for a little while or whatever. But it really bothered me that I felt like that episode was a little boob job, and I didn't like that. For me, I just, knowing that as women we're constantly barraged with these things that were not good enough, and I felt like, even though I think the guys were trying to say, look, we are saying that you're beautiful now. You're just more beautiful with the big boobs. I was like, that doesn't make it better. So there was that. I didn't like that one. And I didn't like the Every Man's Dream. That made me really furious. And I don't think anybody wants to see Homer or Marge with anybody else. I just kept saying, like, when you watch Bob's Burgers, you're not, like, hoping to see Bob with somebody other than Linda. Like, it's not, I don't know. But, so those are my two. You know, I'm sure everybody, there's a few of mine that people hate. That
my least favorite episode, and this is you're probably going to think this is an interesting one, is Bart's Comet.
Huh.
I know that David Merkin is very proud of that episode, but I just don't think it's funny, and I think it has a good premise, but it's just, there's not enough jokes in it. And I think in general, season 6 had a lot of lazy comedy writing in it, in my opinion. There's some episodes in that season I like, but it's to me, there was something weird about that season.
I did like Bart's Comet, but I just sort of remember liking a lot of things about it, but
yeah, we've seen, the preparation for Doomsday on The Simpsons to better effect in Lisa the Skeptic, and other episodes after that. But to me, that one just wasn't that great. It's my least favorite. And there's so many episodes that are just great, but just to me, that one's just not one of them.
It's,
yeah.
Everything is like, there's an episode that everybody hates of mine that I really like, actually. Everybody hates Treehouse of Horror 22. And I get so much shit about it, and I've had even when we go fan questions, people are like, well, why did you people were very upset. Mainly they don't like the first segment, which I love, where Homer gets bitten by a spider and is paralyzed and has to communicate through farting.
Yeah.
And I do think that a lot of people, it's hard to get unless you saw the butterfly and the diving bell.
Yeah.
And maybe not a lot of people have seen that. But I don't know. I've had some people be mad because it's not a horror movie parody, and I think that they don't all have to be horror movie parodies. And
yeah, it could be sci-fi. It could be Outer Limits, Alfred Hitchcock Presents type of stuff.
Or not a parody at all. I know that Brian Kelly wrote one, and one of his segments was about Lisa basically taking home a black hole.
Yeah.
And it's not based on anything. And sometimes people would try and put things in that were... Brian was very... what he really wanted was for it to not be a parody.
Yeah.
To just be its own horror movie. And, there's that too. But...
In 2003, I wrote 2 episodes to amuse myself, and I wish I still had them. Oh God, I laughed out loud when I came up with some. There was one I came up with where Homer meets Barney when they're freshmen in high school, and as a gag, I had Barney invent DVD in 1969. he brings Homer over to his house for the first time, and he says, "Want to watch a movie on DVD?" And he's like, "What's DVD?" And he's like, "The future." And then he plays him Doctor Strangelove on DVD, and then Homer tells him, "This ain't gonna work." And then later in the episode, they get caught sneaking into a Carlos Santana concert. I was going to have Santana be, the guest star of this episode.
Oh, that would be great. I love Santana.
Yeah, and then I came up with a one where it's kind of a cross sequel to Lisa the Vegetarian and When Bart Ruined Thanksgiving, where Lisa ruins Thanksgiving because she's a vegetarian, and then she goes to the Quick Mart to cry on Apu's shoulder, and he's got another celebrity to bring everything in perspective. This time it's Ed Begley Jr., who's been on the show before.
Yes.
And then they get held hostage by Snake, and that was the episode. I wish I still had them. I thought they were brilliant. There's one joke in that one though that I'm surprised you guys have never thought of, where Homer's on the phone talking to Grandpa, saying, "You coming for Thanksgiving?" And Grandpa says, "I got better things to do." And then he hangs up, and then you see him volunteering to to feed everybody on Thanksgiving, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see Hans Holman there, and he's all, "Will you be my friend?" I'm so proud of that. That would be a great joke. I love that. What are your favorite lines on the show?
My favorite lines. There's so many. There's that one the one I just said about, you can't go, I think it's like 5 seconds without embarrassing yourself. And then there's one where, like, Bart, there's so many, but I'm just, like, thinking what randomly comes into my head. There's one joke I really love. I could just tell it was, like, a George joke, where, when Bart had I think it's a faucet stuck to his head, and then he has to go into they go to the doctor there in the waiting room, and then it just struck me as funny that at one point there's other kids who had a faucet stuck on their heads, and then at one point Marge goes, "That's the kind of faucet I want for our doctor's bathroom," or something like that. And I just thought it was so funny. It's such a good character thing that she was, such a mom thing.
Yeah. My two favorites. These kill me. I mean, I love a lot of lines, but these two kill me the most. Remember the Otto show?
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, Otto coming back, and everything in his apartment's gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like we found porno mags in a bottle of mustard, and he's like, "Wait a minute, I have mustard." That's my favorite.
Yeah.
That one, and then the one where Marge joins that snobby country club, and at the end, she's like, I like Lisa's outspokenness. I like Homer's laziness. I like Bart. I love that. That's the worst thing you could ever say about your son.
I really loved. Another episode I really liked that I loved Behind the Laughter, which was like, behind the music for our show. But there was like this. It's like the Simpsons later, after their big heyday, they have like a sort of hokey music show where they're like, "I like music that swings. I like music that rocks. Swing, rocks." It was this big fight, and then the announcer just says, "Sadly, this argument was not part of this script." Like that. It was such a and then they're like, Lisa's hitting somebody with a tambourine.
What do you think the dreaded Rear Admiral is?
We were talking once about it, the bizarre, weird little characters like Baron von Kisselot and
Disco Stew.
Disco Stew, yes. Those people that were like one joke things that they became, characters.
Yeah. Oh my God. The last episode I saw that had me in stitches, and it's been a while now because to me the show hasn't been quite the same since '98, and I've only seen a dozen episodes since, and only one has made me consistently laugh. Is Dude, Where's My Ranch?
Mm.
There's so many great.
So you're like it feels like what was the other one you liked with Homer versus New York?
That was season 9. Yeah.
Yeah, you seem to like Ian's stuff.
Yeah, I love the older ones. But Dude, Where's My Ranch? There's some great stuff in there. Marge talking Southern, and Mo singing Mo, Mo, Mo. How do you like me? How do you like me? Mo, Mo, Mo. Why don't you like me? Nobody likes me. What did you think of the movie?
I like the movie. We always said that it was going to be so hard to come up with a story for the movie, and then, we had all these John Beatty and John Schwartzwelder, and all these people came back to, reconvene, and then it really felt like it was, by the end of the afternoon, they're like, okay, we got the story, and to me, it was a very challenging story. Just because, then later we would have to try and come up with jokes for it. Because I feel like our show is best when we are observational, where it's like the kind of things we're like, oh yeah, that's what it's like to go to the dentist or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to be observational about something that nobody's ever really experienced, like being under a dome.
Yeah.
It became very, very hard, very challenging to come up with jokes. Because also, even if you see like the Truman Show, right?
Right.
it doesn't, being under a dome doesn't really affect you most of the time. Like in the Truman Show, he was completely unaware of it, so you get to the edge. So all of the jokes have to be sort of at the edge of town or life. And so those are the challenges. I think the movie ends up having a lot of really great jokes.
I loved the movie. I was like, I wish every episode now could be like this. It was brilliant. That a lot of people don't realize when they did Camp Krusty back in 1992, Fox wanted that to be the movie, and they broke tradition because so many cartoon movies about kids had summer camp themes, whether it was Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown, or Tiny Toon Adventures, How I Spent My Summer Vacation. I'm glad they waited and did this movie. Oh, God, there's some stuff in there you can't get away with on the show. Like Homer flipping everyone off as he's going down the hole.
Yeah.
Or Marge saying, God damn it, or Flanders possibly being a pedophile. Oh, my God, was that like a big controversy when you guys were writing that?
I don't remember that being a controversy. I don't think so.
Yeah, and then of course Homer and Marge fucking in the log cabinet. There's just some brilliant stuff in there, and I was glad you guys got Tom Hanks for a cameo. He's my favorite actor. So is production stopped right now?
Yeah, we are. We're so fortunate in that we have found that we can pretty much do almost everything remotely. And it's a little hard, but we've sent all our, writing-wise, that's easy. We're just doing Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
Recording, we've sent all our actors the engineers and the recordists at our recording studio. They put together these packages that have mics and I think even baffling and the interface between the mic and the computer, and so that they can have sort of professional quality recording at home. The thing is, I mean, we might end up having to re-record everybody when we, but for right now, sorry, I'm watering plants right now.
It's okay.
So it's making a crazy noise. I have a giant fish tank, and I'm watering plants with the water from it. But, yeah, so we record the actors at home over Zoom, and then now we've sort of figured out how to remotely mix it. Everything just takes a little bit of time, but it's very doable, and so we're very, very fortunate, and it's, yeah. So we're fine.
That's
but, it's a lot of people aren't.
Yeah.
It's very scary. I mean, I think the hardest part is,
yeah.
It's just hard being. It's kind of hard to be funny these days, and Zoom is very intense. We're just sort of staring at it. We actually take more breaks and stuff because it is, for some reason, more tiring to just stare. Even though like in the room we're just staring at each other, but it's live. I don't know why it's so much more tiring, but it is. And I do think that there is this anxiety and the weirdness, although it feels like we're sort of getting used to the weirdness, and then that also makes me anxious. It's a very strange time we're living in right now.
Separation anxiety, yeah, all that stuff. But you've been there over 20 years. I mean, it's been a great gig for you, huh?
Yeah, it has. It is. Yes, it has gone through many evolutions in my mind. It's like, and for the most part, I mean, 99%, it's all good. Everything is. I mean, we still complain because everybody complains. But,
yeah.
But it's just been just a real blessing. And just really, I don't know. It almost makes me feel guilty just how that we are even continuing, that we're able to continue to work, because it just feels like, the show has just been such a lucky thing, and now on top of that, even this is worked out okay. But
yeah. Do you see yourself staying there when it finally does end?
I always told myself I want to be there when it ends, and I thought at first it would be like in a couple of years, and it just keeps going and going. And now I'm actually kind of thinking maybe it might not. It might not ever end. Who knows? I kind of thought that Disney might end it because it just, even right now, it doesn't really make sense money-wise to keep making more episodes.
I think so too, yeah.
it helped, I think, Fox more so because it gave them, something to launch new shows behind. But it's just like when you have so many episodes already, why do you need any more? But I think that maybe Disney is finding that we're kind of helping with Disney Plus. I don't know. I think that they are liking us. Hopefully we'll get to stay for.
Yeah, I was so pissed when Disney bought Fox, because I was like, okay, it's bad enough that they bought Star Wars, because I hate the fact that there's a Disney logo before Star Wars. I want to hear that orchestrated 20th Century Fox logo, because that anticipated how good the movie was going to be, I was just like, oh, God, I'm so sad. Disney's taking over all the good stuff,
Well, it is scary to have one big entity get so big. I mean, negotiations with the WGA and all this. It's just like, you think like, well, when there's only one place in town to work, they're not going to be like dealing, they're not going to be negotiating with us. And I don't know, it's scary to let, anytime to let one entity get really big, and I don't know, I'm probably going to get 5% up. I'm sure. But yeah, it is. But but that's the other thing about this Corona thing. It's like, Disney at one point seemed like the unstoppable, and now they're like, they're really suffering under this. It's
Yeah.
It's very sobering.
Yeah. Do you have any other projects or plans after quarantine?
Nothing that's like, nothing. If I started talking about it, I could only just ramble incoherently because everything is so nebulous and not.
Yeah.
Not anything,
Yeah. So there's
But
this.
I have learned to bake baguettes, and I'm very proud of that. And
Yeah. So there's this a game that I like to play with my guests. It's a secret slumber party question game, and how this works is I ask you the question, you answer it, then you ask me the exact same question, and I answer it.
Okay.
Carolyn, are you ticklish?
I am. Tommy, are you ticklish?
I am baby ticklish. Yes.
Okay.
Is your belly button an innie or an outie?
An innie. Is yours an innie or an outie?
It's an innie. And I have the belly button of an angel.
Oh, that's great.
Are what color are your toenails painted?
They are half a sort of rose color because they are grown out. What color are your toenails painted?
They're not painted right now. Last time they were purple with sparkles. Now that spring and summer coming, I need to get on finding a really nice bright color to use.
Yes, you need to get on that.
Yeah. What would you say is your best personality trait?
I can get over. I can get over things enough to move forward pretty quickly.
You're pretty resilient then.
Yes.
And for me, my sense of empathy. A lot of guests, I tell that to agree that I'm always genuinely interested in everyone. I would probably say, too, the fact that I'm not easily offended and I have no filter would probably be my second. And then...
How long have we been talking? Oh, it's been...
I have one more question to the game.
Okay.
One more question to the game. Is there a stinky smell that just makes you gag?
Stinky smell that makes me gag. I feel like there is, because I have to remember gagging, but I don't really remember what. What about you?
Either farts or feet. And I don't have kids, by the way.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm pretty. I take farts and feet pretty much in stride.
Yeah, a lot of people I've talked to, they say that when you have kids, smells don't bother you anymore, but that's not true. My mom is very sensitive to smell, and she's Italian. So I guess it's subjective. But Carolyn, I want to thank you so much for coming on here. I like you a lot, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
You are
nice of you.
You are wonderfully nerdlicious.
well. Thank you.
Yes.
And, yeah, this is take care of yourself in this strange world, and hopefully we'll have a semblance of normal very soon.
Hopefully, yes. And do you celebrate 420?
Is it almost the day?
Tomorrow.
I do it every day at 4 p.m. No.
Same here. Same here.
No, I don't celebrate it. I appreciate the celebration, but I just don't, because I have a kid and it would involve a lot of, it's a lot harder now that we're quarantined in the same house.
Well, I'll light one up for you tonight.
Okay.
Thank you, Carolyn. You have yourself a great day, and stay safe, both you and your kid.
Thank you. You too.
My pleasure. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, there you have it. Carolyn Omine. Ain't she a sweetheart? She's a nice lady. Total free spirit. Nerdlicious, as I said. Everything I like in a guest. I like her a lot. And she's moving on with The Simpsons. That's just so fucking amazing. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.